April 1st, 2170. The election has come to an end with an incumbent Nathan Samuels being re-elected to another 10-year term as Prime Minister. May 1st, 2170. Delegates from the United Earth, the Confederacy of Surak, the Andorian Empire, and the Tellarite Technocracy have assembled on Earth. Prime Minister Nathan Samuels and leaders from the other member worlds gathered to sign the Charter for the United Federation of Planets, which consolidates the coalition of planets into one unified government. It has been decided that the first Federation president would be Nathan Samuels, and the first election will be held on January 1st, 2180. The United Earth Starfleet has been disbanded, and the Federation Charter has formed a new Starfleet under the Federation. All the United Earth vessels and a majority of other member world vessels have been transferred to Starfleet. Member worlds have donated numerous technologies to Starfleet, but it will take time to fully understand how they work and how to make them work together in a starship. Other galactic powers have been relatively receptive to the Federation, but the Cardassians and the Romulans have been increasingly antagonistic, especially towards former United Earth vessels, going as far as to follow them when near their respective borders. May 22nd, 2170. Following the signing of the Federation Charter, a number of influential leaders from member worlds have embraced this new Federation, and offered their expertise in whatever areas they can, including some enlisting in Starfleet. Notable leaders include Saval, the former Vulcan ambassador to Earth, Grawl, the former Tellarite representative to the Coalition of Planets, and Shran, a former captain in the Andorian Imperial Guard. Shran has enlisted in Starfleet and has been given the rank of Admiral, and given the task of overseeing the integration of the donated technologies into Starfleet vessels. Sadly, progress on this has been slower than expected, and Shran estimates this to roughly take about 10 years or more. June 13th, 2170. The 6 vessels under construction at the San Francisco Fleet Yards have been commissioned into Starfleet as the USS Brussels, Minx, Pioneer, Hopkins, Jupiter, and Columbia. The former Sol Defense Fleet has been reorganized into the First Response Fleet, which is to be stationed at Earth Space Dock so that it would be able to respond to any situation that arose across the Federation, within a reasonable amount of time. July 27th, 2170. A research station in orbit around Altair has gone silent, missing several scheduled check-ins with Starfleet Command. Unknown to the public, the station is one of 2 stations that is still under direct control of Earth since they hold frozen embryos of genetically augmented humans from the eugenics wars on Earth in the late 20th century. Starfleet Command has ordered the First Response Fleet to investigate the station. Admiral Erica Hernandez is secretly ordered to secure the embryos no matter the cost, because if the embryos fall into the wrong hands, it could spark unrest, or even a repeat of the eugenics wars on Earth. The Ganymede class, designed in 2157 by the United Earth Starfleet for deep space scientific research. At a length of 200 meters and a width of 200 meters, it has a standard crew complement of 100, spread across 20 decks. The class is outfitted with polarized hull plating, which can make the hull multiple orders of magnitude harder, providing adequate protection against natural threats and limited weapons fire. The station is armed with 3 pulse phase cannons and 1 fusion torpedo launcher for its own self-defense. The station boasts extensive scientific laboratories and an advanced sensor suite at the cost of having cramped recreational and living quarters. September 12th, 2170. Through the use of specialized and improved plasma conduits that were donated to Starfleet by the Vulcans, we were able to improve the efficiency of our warp cores, which allow us to create vastly more stable subspace fields, allowing Starfleet vessels to reach a sustainable warp factor of 4.2, and an emergency warp factor of 5. The USS Armstrong, Iapetus, and Horizon have been recalled to the San Francisco Fleet Yards to receive a refit to their warp cores, and upgrades to other various systems. January 12th, 2171. The First Response Fleet has arrived at the station in the Altair system. Several hull breaches and a number of bodies are detected. Security teams are ordered to board the station. However, before the teams disembark, multiple proximity alerts are triggered. The fleet is immediately put on red alert, and several vessels of Klingon design reveal themselves from behind the far side of the station, with disruptors charged and targeted at the USS Goddard, and fired. January 13th, 2171. All Klingon ships were destroyed. The USS Python and Brussels sustained moderate damage, but luckily no fatalities. The USS Goddard, on the other hand, sustained severe damage and multiple fatalities. The ship's crew was able to avoid a critical warp core breach, and saved the ship and the remainder of her crew. The first response fleet will continue to investigate, and Admiral Erica Hernandez is personally leading a security team to the station, even though her first officer objected, since there could still be a hostile presence on the station. Hernandez swept through the station and there were no hostiles. She found the embryos, but 24 of them are missing, and Hernandez cannot utilize the rest of the fleet to search, as that would give away her real objective. So she contacts Starfleet Command and requests another vessel that has more advanced sensor systems. Starfleet Command decides to send the USS Horizon under the command of Captain Cyrus Connery, since Connery was already briefed on the existence of the embryos when he was studying them in the past. The Horizon's refit has been postponed till the missing embryos are recovered. April 8th, 2171. The Federation Council is meeting for the first time on Earth to discuss the Federation's plans and where to allocate its time and resources. After hours of debate and resolving small and menial issues, the Council has decided to ramp up diplomatic outreach programs, especially towards the Ferengi Alliance, as they seem enthusiastic to improve relations and negotiate a trade deal because they say it will bring them more profit. April 26, 2171. Admiral Hernandez and Captain Connery have searched through the debris and collected computer cores from the station and ships. They also found the missing embryos on board one of the Klingon vessels. The computer cores were damaged but recoverable, so engineering teams were able to access them, but were not allowed to view their contents. Only Hernandez and Connery were authorized to do so by Starfleet. They learned that the fleet was commanded by genetically augmented humans that were smuggled from Earth a few decades ago. The group of augmented humans were seeking to acquire more embryos to bolster their numbers before claiming a planet of their own. The devastation of their stolen Klingon fleet seems to have put an end to this plan, but we do not know if any survived the conflict, or if there are any more augments left. February 11th, 2172. Paul Boone is the first human to take a fresh breath of Martian air. After many years of work, the atmosphere is finally thick enough for a human to breathe unaided. There is still much work to be done till Mars is fully terraformed, but this is a monumental step forward. This work is now dedicated to the lives lost from the meteor strike that killed 50,000 people 6 years ago. December 6th, 2172. Starfleet engineers have taken the shield designs donated by the Vulcans and the Andorians, and developed their own. Shields are large fields of gravitons that can be generated and maintained around a vessel or station, and it should provide limited protection against a range of harmful phenomenon and weapons fire, although it comes at the cost of a significant amount of power. Tests of the shields proved to be successful at defending a vessel against a limited amount of weapons fire from a former Tellarite cruiser. January 30th, 2173. The first response fleet is returning to Earth space dock, and all the ships in the fleet will be outfitted with the new shield technology. This will render the fleet inoperative for the next few months, leaving the Federation vulnerable to attack. Admiral Erica Hernandez will be diverted to Earth before Columbia receives its upgrades to transfer the recovered embryos over to Starfleet Intelligence for safekeeping. February 15th, 2173. The Federation Council has offered to mediate a dispute between the Denobulan Unity and the Orion Trade Union. This dispute is regarding the Orion's business practices on Denobula. Both the Denobulans and the Orions have agreed to the mediation, so a conference has been planned on Denobula. May 11th, 2173. Starfleet has commissioned its final two Franklin-class vessels as the USS Apollo and the USS Hawking. Starfleet will continue to upgrade and maintain Franklin-class vessels, but Starfleet is looking into new designs for exploratory vessels that are designed with shields and the faster warp cores in mind so that we can fully utilize these new technologies. The USS Apollo is placed under the command of Captain Harry Palm, who was Jonathan Archer's first officer during the Xindi Crisis. The USS Hawking is placed under the command of Captain Jay Sinful, who was the first officer to Ignacio Martinez. The Franklin class, designed in 2145 by United Earth Starfleet for long-range exploration. At a length of 140 meters and a width of 90 meters, it has a standard crew complement of 40, spread across 3 decks. After the refit, the class is outfitted with Type 1 deflector shields and Type 4 titanium hull plating. It is also equipped with 2 pulse phase cannons and 1 fusion torpedo launcher. It carries 1 shuttle pod for transportation to planets, in conjunction with the matter transporter. The class boasts an extensive sensor suite and optical main computer, at the cost of cramped recreational and living quarters. October 11th, 2173. The Xindi Council and the Deltan Union have signed a formal peace treaty, with the Xindi Council being demilitarized and restricted on what type of vessels they can produce. The treaty also restricts the production and development of military-grade weaponry. The Xindi Council is now only allowed to maintain a fleet large enough for its own self-defense, and nothing more. December 22nd, 2173. The Cardassian Union is becoming more and more belligerent, and they have lodged formal complaints to the Federation Council about outposts along their border. President Nathan Samuels has made it clear to the Cardassians that the Federation will not abandon its outposts along the border, but the Federation also has no desire for any form of conflict. March 21st, 2174. Our efforts to mediate the dispute between the Denobulan Unity and the Orion Trade Union has been successful, with both parties coming to a mutually beneficial agreement. The Denobulans have expressed their desire to strengthen their bond with the Federation, and they floated the idea that they may wish to apply for Federation membership in the future. April 4th, 2174. The USS Horizon has encountered a flotilla of civilian transport vessels while patrolling the Zenkethi Federation border. The transports are carrying Valerian refugees that were forced from their homes by Zenkethi authorities. The Federation Council has voted and decided to allow the refugees to settle at the Federation colony of Beta Leonis II. The USS Horizon has been ordered to escort them there. June 1st, 2174. The Zenkethi Coalition has declared war on the Ferengi Alliance. We do not know the reason for the war declaration, but Federation strategists and Starfleet intelligence believe that the Zenkethi have the upper hand in the conflict, and predict that the Zenkethi will win the war within the next 2 years. The Ep3 class ship was designed in the 2150s by the Zenkethi Coalition, and we have observed that the purpose of this class is to be a patrol or scout vessel. At a length of 130 meters and a width of 135 meters, the class can sustain Warp 3 for extended periods of time. The class is outfitted with deflector shields and some form of titanium alloy hull plating. It is armed with antimatter weaponry and fusion torpedoes. Starfleet intelligence has deemed the Ep3 class to be an equal to Starfleet's Franklin class. February 24th, 2175. The Denobulan Unity has applied for Federation membership. The Federation Council has approved the request, but this is just the beginning. Negotiations now begin to lay out a framework for Denobula to join the Federation, which is estimated to take around 5 years. September 2nd, 2175. While in the vicinity of Pisces Australis II, Captain Cyrus Connery has discovered a vessel that appears to be an old DY-500 class vessel, which was an interplanetary transport built by Earth in the late 20th century. The vessel starts transmitting a signal that appears to be an old Morse code signal. Captain Connery brings the Horizon to red alert, not wanting to be caught off guard, especially since the ship does not have the capability of faster-than-light travel, so its presence this far from the Sol system is quite suspicious, but it should still be investigated. September 3rd, 2175. The Horizon has come alongside the transport, and sensors show signs of equipment and life aboard, but there have been no further communications beyond the original Morse code. The medical officer speculates that there are 60 to 70 very faint life signs. Captain Connery orders a tractor beam to stabilize the transport for boarding. While on board the vessel, it is discovered that it is the SSJ Bartlett, and security teams discover a chamber of humans in cryosleep. With the aid of the medical officer, the presumed captain of the Bartlett is awakened, and after discussing the time period that they are now in, as well as the state of the galaxy as a whole, the crew is apprehensive to the idea that it has been almost 200 years since they went into cryosleep after their ship's engines were destroyed. The crew of the SSJ Bartlett will be taken to Earth where they can receive much better assistance that can be provided on the horizon. May 17th, 2176. The Federation Council has authorized Starfleet to construct 3 new starbases, 2 along the Cardassian border to hopefully curb Cardassian aggression, and 1 starbase along the Zenkethi border as a response to increasingly expansionist rhetoric and their war with the Ferengi Alliance. The construction of these starbases is estimated to take 2 to 3 years. The Pluto-class starbase was designed in 2142 by United Earth for defense of colonies and other important sites. It has a length of 750 meters and a width of 750 meters, with a standard crew complement of 1,000 Starfleet personnel and 2,000 to 3,000 civilian personnel spread across 75 decks. The starbase is outfitted with Type 1 deflector shields and Type 4 titanium hull plating, and armed with 5 heavy pulse phase cannons and 2 fusion torpedo launchers. The starbase boasts advanced sensor arrays and extensive subspace communication systems, also multiple matter transporters. It has 2 shuttle bays holding 10 shuttle pods and 5 work pods, and it is powered by an electrostatic fusion power core. February 27, 2177. The USS Evergreen, under the command of Captain Alexander Murphy, accidentally entered Romulan space and was fired upon by a Romulan warbird that uncloaked. The Evergreen sustained moderate damage, and the Romulans broadcasted a warning to leave the system immediately or be destroyed. Captain Murphy orders a course out of the system and to the nearest starbase for repairs. Starfleet Command has reviewed the incident and has decided not to remove Captain Murphy from command, since the Romulans do not clearly mark their space or inform Starfleet to their new territories. The Tavarro class was designed in the 2150s by the Romulan Star Empire. We have observed that the purpose of the class is to be an interceptor or scout ship. At a length of 150 meters and a width of 170 meters, we have learned that the class has an artificial singularity drive that allows the vessel to travel at around warp 4 for sustained periods of time. The class seems to be outfitted with deflector shields and a titanium hull. It is armed with multiple plasma disruptors and multiple plasma torpedo launchers. The class's most unique quality is its ability to cloak itself from our sensors and even from the naked eye. January 3rd, 2178. After years of service to Starfleet, Captain Jonathan Archer has decided to retire from Starfleet and begin a life in politics, and has decided to run for Federation President in 2 years. The USS Enterprise has been recalled to Earth until a suitable captain is picked to command the Federation's flagship. The NX class, designed in 2151 by United Earth Starfleet for long-range exploration and to be a multi-mission ship capable of fulfilling any task. At a length of 225 meters and a width of 135 meters, it has a standard crew complement of 85, spread across 7 decks. It has a gravimetric manifold warp drive capable of propelling the vessel at warp 5 for sustained periods of time. The class was equipped with polarized hull plating, but this was replaced by Type 1 deflector shields and Type 4 titanium hull plating after its refit. It is armed with 4 pulse phase cannons, 4 fusion torpedo launchers, and 1 experimental photonic torpedo launcher. The class has multiple tractor beam emitters and extensive medical facilities, as well as an advanced sensor array. There is a matter transporter and 2 shuttle pods for transfer of goods and personnel. Some ships of the class housed the Mako commandos on board to assist in dangerous situations when the need arose. November 9th, 2178. Captain Amir Hamadi has just celebrated his 75th birthday. Even though he is still fit for command both physically and mentally, he has made the decision to transition into teaching at Starfleet Academy. The USS Armstrong will proceed to Earth Space Dock to receive upgrades and bring Amir Hamadi back to Earth. April 21st, 2179. The Zenkethi-Ferengi War lasted longer than Federation strategists predicted, but the outcome was correct, as the Ferengi Alliance has signed a peace treaty with the Zenkethi Coalition. The Ferengi have given the Zenkethi 4 star systems and an inhabited planet in the peace treaty. The Ferengi are currently evacuating their citizens from the planet before the Zenkethi arrive. September 1st, 2179. The USS Enterprise has arrived at Earth space dock. Captain Ignacio Martinez is offered command of Enterprise, but he turned down the offer, stating that he would rather remain with his current ship and crew. Starfleet Command's next pick is Captain Harry Palm, since he served as Archer's first officer for years and knows the ins and outs of Enterprise and her crew. Harry Palm has accepted the position, and Starfleet has given command of the USS Apollo to Captain Sofek. December 26, 2179. There is an outbreak of the Tenerian Plague on Beta Leonis II. While local quarantine has succeeded so far in containing the outbreak within a few settlements on the planet, it may soon spread. Governor Taman has requested Starfleet to send a vessel equipped with extensive medical facilities to assist in resolving the outbreak. The nearest ship that has the required facilities is the USS Enterprise. Captain Harry Palm has been ordered to Beta Leonis II at maximum warp. January 1st, 2180. The first ever election for Federation President has begun. The top candidates are incumbent Nathan Samuels, Governor T'Pau, Governor Maxwell Forrest, and former Captain Jonathan Archer. Nathan Samuels' campaign is based upon expanding the Federation's ability to construct deep space facilities like starbases and mining outposts to increase the Federation's presence in this quadrant of space. T'Pau's campaign is based upon improving the process of refining and experimentation into new alloys and other materials that can be used in construction of stronger and more resilient ships and structures. Maxwell Forrest's campaign is based upon improving and expanding the multiple Federation colonies, including founding new colonies that will also give us access to more resources in the long term. Jonathan Archer's campaign is based upon the expansion of the exploratory and scientific parts of the Federation, and to improve relations with the Federation's neighbors. Also improving and streamlining the process of becoming a Federation member world, to hopefully bring more species into the Federation. Voting will occur on all Federation colonies and on all member worlds, and will end on April 1st. Thank you all for watching. If you want to be a part of this series, leave a comment down below. If you are like me and like the specifications of the ships, there is a spreadsheet in the description detailing the current state of Starfleet vessels. If you have made it this far, please consider leaving a like and subscribing. It's free and you can always unsubscribe. As always, have a wonderful day.